Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. At the Select Board meeting this week, it was a medium-sized meeting, went a couple hours. We also had an NRTA meeting and a county meeting. And at the big thing, I guess I'm going to focus on at the Select Board meeting, well, we had a couple of public comment items, and one of them had to do with Myakama Pond, which was illegally opened on Tuesday, sometime we think during the day, by unknown persons.
Come on. Unknown?
I don't know who they are.
Seriously?
Do you?
No, but how could you get away with not
I don't know.
Somebody not knowing who did that?
In my personal opinion, there's no way someone did not see that. But anyway, moving along, the pond was opened, and a lot of water seems to have rushed out, and the pond level is clearly down. Long story short, the ownership of the property where it was open is between the town and the land bank. So we are conferring on a daily basis as to whether or not we think there should be a manual closure. And at this point, as of today, Friday morning, it looks like the flow has slowed. There's some vegetation that has, clumps of vegetation that have migrated kind of down to where the opening is that's restricting flow. And that may, the prevailing theory at the moment is that may just cause the pond to close naturally. So we're taking a wait and see kind of approach at the moment to whether or not we're going to manually close. So in the meantime, I am hearing from at least one person who is at the head of the pond, and the level has gone down significantly up there. And hopefully, the other sort of prevailing theory is that because the groundwater is so high right now, that it will fill the pond back in relatively quickly.
You know where you see groundwater super high? In Dionis.
Dionis?
Near the beach.
Huh.
In front of Dionis where the parking lot is.
Yeah.
That whole area is just like a swampy area now.
Well, okay, we should try to remember a couple things. There's a lot of low-lying areas on the island, and, well, maybe we're not going to get into a whole thing about groundwater and climate change and development and removal of vegetation and impervious surfaces, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other day. Let's not even do that. Anyway, we're monitoring Myakama Pond, and more later on that. The other big thing at the meeting was we had town council in to review the marijuana adult use regulations that have recently been adopted by the state. And there are a lot of things the town is going to need to consider. And to remind everybody, we have a moratorium on retail marijuana establishments through December 2018. We are supposed to be, now that the regulations are out, we put the moratorium in effect so that we could see what the regulations are going to end up saying, so that we can decide if we want to do any more zoning bylaw amendments to regulate retail use, or general bylaw amendments, or our own local licensing process for these establishments. And we learned a lot of information on Wednesday night, and I think there's a few things that are going to happen now. I'm probably going to get together a staff group to look it all over and possibly make some recommendations to the board or give them some items for consideration. The board also indicates it really wants to have some public forums about these regulations. There's over 100 pages of these regulations, all on the state website, and we have a PowerPoint that town council went through, which is a pretty good summary of, it looks something like this. And it's kind of lengthy here, and this is double-sided. So this is going to get put online, and people can peruse it whenever they want. And anyway, so there's going to be more discussion about this, and at sometime next week I'm going to be working with some of the board members to start scheduling some of this. Yes?
Now, if we hadn't put the moratorium on, was it July 1st it would be open?
July 1st, well, that's when the retail uses can start statewide. If they are properly licensed. Now, through the state and the local town.
We can learn a lot by looking at other towns that are going to do it on July 1st.
Yes.
Can't we? So that's a really good, important point for us to look at.
Yep, we can.
Maybe I could take a trip over
To a town that allows
To a town
it.
who allows it and do a show about it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Give people a really good, clear look at what we do or don't want to do.
Yeah, although we should just keep in mind, Nantucket is a little bit different because, for one thing, there isn't another town right next door that you could go to.
Right.
For another thing, the transportation issue remains an issue. Transport cannot occur over federal waters. But there's a provision in the regulations for the Vineyard and Nantucket relating to the inspection and testing of the product to avoid that. So basically, the product will be grown on island, not transported back and forth. Everything is going to need to be grown here, is the bottom line.
And it's going to happen, or is it not going to happen? I mean, are we going to see a retail, at least one?
I can't say right at the moment because town meeting, I don't want to preclude what town meeting may or may not vote, and I think the board wants to have some discussion about that. We have a medical marijuana dispensary which is preparing to open. They had a community meeting yesterday at their site at 11 Amelia Drive, and they are going to be seeking a retail license. It would be at that location. So people are preparing for this, and we have another medical sort of in the wings that's approached us a couple of times but doesn't seem to have finalized a location. And another group we have been contacted by another group that some people are going to be meeting with in the next week or so to hear about their proposal.
So how many medical places can we have?
We can have there's no limit.
Okay.
But
it's good there's competition.
Practically,
Right.
there is a limit
Right.
because it's really expensive to get one of these establishments going.
They could not exist if they didn't feel that the recreational part of it was around the corner, right? I mean,
That's what I hear. I honestly, I'm not an industry expert
I wanna
really,
know from
but
them.
yeah, well, you'll be talking to them.
Yes, I will.
So those are the main things that happened at the select. Oh, sorry, one other thing. At last week's meeting, the Board of Selectmen changed its name to Select Board, and at this week's meeting, they ratified a policy to effect that change. No Select Board meeting next week, April 4th. We have town meeting starting Tuesday, April 3rd, and we are unsure right now if that will carry over to Wednesday, so that's why we have no meeting, but we're back at it on April 11th, the day after the election, which is April 10th. At the 11th meeting, right now, it looks like we are probably going to be having a discussion with the Conservation Commission about the SBPF project, the erosion control project out in Sconset along the bluff of Baxter Road. They went to, Concom had a discussion at its meeting this week about the current project. And there's an annual report that SBPF provides, and also Concom had an independent engineering review. So we're going to be hearing about that on the 11th, prior to the select board taking any additional action on the proposal to expand the project. What else is happening? I mentioned my comment, town meeting. I mentioned there's a lot of information out there about town meeting.
Right.
Everybody should have gotten the warrant in the mail by now. If you haven't, it's online, and there are copies around town at the Athenaeum, at our office. There's a voter's guide available online. It will be available at town meeting. It's in our office. There are videos on NCTV and Geno TV about some of the articles. There are radio spots about it. There has been information in the newspaper, and I'm trying to think of what else is out there on this. I and others went to some community meetings recently, the Nantucket Town Association, the Civic Leagues Meet the Articles last week, and those are, well, not Town Association, but Meet the Articles was taped. Rotary I went to. There's we just did a special town manager e-newsletter that we put out about it the other day, and there's a lot of stuff on social media, Instagram and Twitter, about this. So there should be plenty of places where people can locate information. Got any questions, Gino? About town meeting?
No, I think it's great. Let's.
There are a number of non-binding articles on the warrant, which I
Want to
hope.
go through a couple of them?
Well, I hope people kind of realize no matter how much discussion we have about them, we can't really do anything about it. So, for example, there's an article from a citizen, most of these are citizen generated, that seeks a $30 million operating override. So the idea behind it is that this individual thinks that the town needs to infuse a lot of funds into infrastructure. And his proposal is to do a $30 million override. And he also believes that if the residential exemption were increased from current 20% higher, that there would be very limited, if no, impact on the year-round Nantucket resident who has a residential exemption. And that probably remains to be a little bit analyzed, but the way the article is, well, the select board is the only group that can actually put an operating override on the ballot, because that would also require a ballot vote. So it isn't something that can really happen now. There's that. There's a couple of articles about Tacoma Green and affordable housing that are pretty well non-binding. Is
there anything about getting rid of single-use plastic? Because that's coming.
No, but I think it probably is coming.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a
good one.
worldwide problem. But
Yes.
it is going. A lot of towns have started to look at that,
Right.
or have taken
we
action.
got rid of balloons.
We did. Yeah, hopefully.
I'm
I
really
see an
missing
awful
those
lot of balloons.
though. I'm really missing it though.
Well, do you know why you like to carry balloons around? There's an awful lot of balloons on the beach. I'll tell you that.
There's
Washed
so much
up.
crap on the beach, Libby. This is
There
why
is.
we have got to start
Yeah,
waking up.
I know, it's gross.
As a world. It's terrible
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Okay, so what else? That's about it for now?
Yeah, what do you got going this weekend? You got any
Well,
things going on?
I've got some Easter church things to do.
Oh, of course.
And I'm probably going to be off island on Sunday for a family event. And
Wonderful.
that means I'm going to have to get all my household chore, errand types of things done on Saturday.
You got
And Gino the gym, let's hope.
Don't you forget.
I'll see you there.
You betcha. See
Yeah.
you there, Libby.
See ya. Okay. Thank you very much. See you next time.